the type of music that you hear that I performed tonight is all ambient music. So it's almost like it begs you to keep, like the first song you accept it. And then if you accept the first song, then the second song you say, oh, okay, I can take this more. And then the third song, more. So it's like almost like it's an offering and like a please, you know, to listen to. And I enjoy ambient music for that reason, because it's like a warm hug, the best ambient music. And so that's what I try to make with the electronic stuff. There's also tracks that are like crushing and like super fast and dance tracks and stuff like that. But with this set, it's like a humble offering. It's my first time performing this, so it's like, all right, let me just...
said it to you, and I know anything. Well, that's pretty much all of it. I hope you had a lovely time. But if you didn't, then, well, fuck it.
Hola amigos de La Última Canción, nuevamente estamos acá en un nuevo episodio de nuestro podcast. Para mí es un gusto estar con ustedes y sobre todo hoy día que tenemos un performance que nos trajo su música, nos trajo su propuesta audiovisual también. Vamos a conocer un poco más de él, vamos a poder conversar con él. Su nombre es Kevin, pero su nombre artístico es UmJustLike. Así que vamos a tener una conversación con él, va a estar en inglés para la gente que no habla inglés, si pueden acudir a los subtítulos. Así que vamos a empezar a hablar con Kevin. How are you, Kevin?
Muy bueno, muy bueno.
Well, we are a podcast mostly we target Spanish speaker people, but we try to connect with the Chicano culture here in LA. And obviously worldwide, whatever who wanna like stick with us, we're happy to it. So since you are a performance from LA, but you are from Sacramento, but you're living in LA currently, and you're making your music here. So for us, it's pretty interesting to get to know you, to get to know your music proposal and your performance. So let's start from the beginning. Like, if you can tell us who you are and your musical background.
The background started young. I grew up in Sacramento, like you said. Came from a good family that gave me what I needed to experiment and play and be a child. So I played a lot bass, just because that was the thing that was around. Played in orchestras, played in different rock bands and stuff around. Grew up with music always. This project is like special because it's like the first one that I've did by myself. So my background with music is like, it was always there. Whether I was playing it or listening to it, it was always there. So yeah.
So you're a musician since young, like you were doing music since you were young. How you came up with this project in particular?
This was just maybe 4 years ago. COVID happened. I was isolated back home with my mom and my family, and had a keyboard and like a little trigger sequencer, and just started playing around because there was so much time to just like sit back, you know, and relax. And so I would just push buttons and see what it sounded like, and not even think about music to put it out or to perform it even, or definitely not to press it to like a tape or vinyl or anything. Just have fun and just fill the time. So this project came about during the pandemic when I had a bunch of time to do that. Yeah.
If you had to say your influence on music, like with what type of music you grew up with?
So my mom introduced me to the Beatles, yeah, as a kid, and my dad introduced me to the Beach Boys. Okay. So that's my foundation. Okay. Like I said before, they pushed me into good directions, anything I wanted to. So I got into classical for a long time, and found atonal music which is like Anton Webern, Schoenberg, these types of classical music that's not, you know, it was like more like, you know, experimental, deep, heavy thinking that was not so romantic and so tied and tethered to easily touchable things. It was like every second was different. Every piece had its own part. Very experimental, very dynamic. Like the dynamic range is massive. So then I found that in college with a teacher who showed me that type of classical music. And then I said, oh shit, like, wow, this is like, you can go really deep and really far in a split second, or through arrangement, or through making decisions. You know, it doesn't have to be this. It can be crazy.
Well, I have heard people saying that type of music that you're saying is kind of like march, like pretty German march.
Very predictable, very satisfying, very easily satisfying to the soul or the mind or whatever you want to resonate with. But yeah, so I grew up with the classics, whether it's classical music or the Beach Boys and pop stuff, just to get the dynamic range. And also coming from Sacramento, the math rock is like a huge thing, which is very complicated. Usually a rock band, guitar, drums, vocals, just very experimental patterns and progressions.
Are we talking about like bands like Tool or
I definitely
Moe?
Yeah, I definitely listen to Tool on the radio, but the bands I'm speaking of, Mr. Metaphor, Terra Mellos, Hella is a huge one. The word Hella actually comes from that band, which is Hella in Sacramento. Just math rock. And the thing that excited me about that type of music growing up and playing in those types of bands, as well as orchestra and experimenting with listening to atonal stuff by Schoenberg and Webern, was the immediate excitement that can be had. The immediate, with pop music or stuff, you feel it coming before it happens. Whereas with math rock and with atonal classical music and a lot of electronic music, it can happen at any point in time. So that type of instantaneous switch came to me as like very profound, because anything in the mind can switch. If the sounds can switch like that, then the mind, the consciousness, the heart, the whole system can change like that easy.
In terms of move, you mean?
Sorry?
In terms of move, you switch of like your mood towards music change.
Yeah. And it's like undeniable. So it comes, it hits, and you're just like, or you're like a true instant. So that's my early like background in music that got me to be excited about trying to do that myself.
And how happened that how you came across to electronic music or to electronic device to start creating sounds?
The funny fact is the very first record I bought before I had a record player, I think I was like 15 or 16. I ride bikes a lot, and so I saw the Kraftwerk Tour de France album, just the cover, and
the bicycle.
yeah, the 4, and so I saw it in the store, and I was like, "Yeah, let's get it." So I got it. I put it on the wall for like, I don't know, 9 years. Never had a record player. Then I finally got a record player, and I was like, oh yeah, let me try this one out. So the first record I put was that one, and I heard Tour de France, and I was just like, oh, not just math rock, not atonal, but it's almost like a classical music piece by Mozart that also is like accurate. You know, so that was an interesting texture that I had. That was the first vinyl that I bought and listened to. So my introduction to electronic music was through Kraftwerk's Tour de France.
And that's gonna like motivate you and move you to start experimenting with a different electronic device.
It was a long time before. So I heard that, and then there was a long time before I started to mess with this. But when I started to play with these things, I listened back and did a lot of research onto that album and that project and everything that stemmed from that project. And what I gathered from that experience was you can do anything you want, you know. It doesn't even have to have a reason. The reason can come later. You can just push stuff, hear stuff, tweak stuff, look at stuff, use the body as like a tool that it's made for, to see or hear something happen, comes back. And my fascination with electronic music, to jump around a little bit, is that one push of a button, one turn of a knob, one thing, you know, with electronic, it can change everything. So those types of like subtleties that you can experiment with, they can mean a world of difference. So that's what I like about electronic music, because the difference between like a and and you know, it's just like this. That's it. So it opens up so much of the imagination, I think. But yeah, that's kind of like my background with electronic music, I guess. Kraftwerk, Alltecher. Yeah.
Like in a wider view, we're living in a time where streaming and the way how people approach to music has changed incredibly. It's massive. Like, we're witnessing things that we haven't witnessed before. How easy is for someone like me or like you or whoever around here is to reaching out to music that before, because of the price, because it was like kind of difficult to go and buy the CD for any reason. Now we have that in our phones and on our pockets. How you feel that has switched and changed the whole way of how people consume music and how people approach the music as a phenomenon?
Well, it's an interesting thing to talk about. I'm very grateful that the technology has been advancing, especially with, you know, what do you want? Like, you tell me something, I look it up, I hear it. I don't even have to have a cable to connect, you know, like you can listen to any music pretty much. If you have a device and like a Wi-Fi or cellular, it's incredible. And then to take that, when I grew up, it was like a Nintendo, you know, and a TV, or a camera, and then you wait and then you watch it later, or a film photo, and then a week later you see it. Whereas this now is so instantaneous. And not just that, but also the spread of information. I thank everything for that. You know, you go walk to work with like a specific playlist you want to listen, or drive with I want to listen to a podcast, and or like this, that. The accessibility to information and what people express is incredible nowadays, more than before ever.
I was listening to these people that are producers from Mexico. I was listening to them like 4 or 5 days ago, and they were like putting up a discussion about why, even though we have the huge access to whatever music we want to have and listen to, but every number show up that people are going through the classic to the hit to the songs that are already been proved to be a hit. And people are not really going through find new music or like to go through more experimental music. So that seems like a paradox to me. Why you think that's happening? Why you think even though we have access to whatever we want to listen to, we're still going through the safe places, to the secure places?
I think that says a lot about the world and the state that the world's in right now. The world is always, sorry, but fucked up, and still continues to be more and more and more and more fucked up. I think a lot of people want a type of resonance with sound and music that they listen to. Number one, they choose to listen to it. It's not just on a radio, and it's not just on somebody else plays it. Like, you have the access to listen to it, so you choose to play stuff that, like you said, comes from an older time, a more comforting time, a more whatever you could imagine. I think that's a response to seeing the world as how fucked up it is, and political war, bombs, explosions, money, capital, just the whole complex of the world and how it is. Not only do we have more access to that information with news and with personal outlets on social media and just seeing more, I think when people want to choose music, I could see them wanting to choose something that's just like a break from all of that. Doesn't mean that I think that they shouldn't experiment and try to find like new stuff, but I can see why they would want to just like not have to think about it and be like, oh, this is, or like, for example, Spotify, any Apple Music, iTunes, YouTube, even, like, they curate playlists, they curate search, they curate all the things. Even if you search one thing, it'll lead you down a pattern that it thinks you want to go down. So I think the individual should search out as much as they are able to search out. And if sometimes you don't want to listen to music, sometimes you don't want to listen to anything, you just want to be quiet. But I think nowadays a lot of people just need something to fill it. And like before, it makes sense that they want to go old school because the sounds are better. It's recorded with much more warmth and manufactured to be cozy.
Yeah, that's for me make a lot of sense because actually there's a book from David Byrne from the Talking Heads, and he was just like proving something that is a fact, that now these days people listen more music than any other time in history. Like, there's music everywhere. If you go to the dentist, you go to the elevator, it's music everywhere. And that doesn't prove that we have better taste or we're more interested in music. It's just music became like a tool, something like, like you say, to fill up some void. In your music, the music that you do, you try to reflect that because your music has that type of intimacy or in I don't know, like what I hear from you is that it makes me go inside my mind. So it's something that you try to do on purpose. It's something that you think about.
I definitely think about it. I enjoy the quiet times, and I enjoy the introspective times, and the times that maybe there's something playing, but it's just kind of background, and then out of nowhere something, and then, oh, it's kind of my atonal like background. The type of music that you hear that I performed tonight is all ambient music, so it's almost like it begs you to keep, like, the first song you accept it, and then if you accept the first song, then the second song you say, oh, okay, I can take this more, and then the third song more. So it's like almost like it's an offering and like a please, to listen to. And I enjoy ambient music for that reason, because it's like a warm hug, the best ambient music. And so that's what I try to make with the electronic stuff. There's also tracks that are like crushing and like super fast and dance tracks and stuff like that. But with this set, it's like a humble offering. It's my first time performing this, so it's like, all right, let me just.
And we're very honored for you let us tape you and have this episode with you. It's an honor for us.
Ditto.
And I don't know if you want to get into the way you do performance, like, because you were telling me that all the sounds that you put in place are analog. Mm-hmm. So can you want to explain that? You want to like give us a peek of it?
Yeah. So everything that you hear is from an analog Eurorack synthesizer that takes electricity from the wall and bends and manipulates that signal in order to push it out through a speaker. The only thing that's not analog is this keyboard, but it kind of is analog. Like we were saying before with like older styles of music, how comforting and how cozy it is. I find analog to be like that. And I think a lot of people like be like, oh yeah, analog. Like it's cozy, it's chill, it's nice. But it's true, you know. If you use a computer to make music, I find you can kind of get lost in the age of information, like we were saying before. Whereas with analog, it's like, if something doesn't work, you have to figure out the workflow, and you get one sound and you are able to manipulate it. I think to like a healthy experiment. Whereas with a computer, it's so endless. It's like an ocean that you've never sailed on. Whereas analog is kind of like, it's true. It's easy to play with. It's easy to have fun with. It's easy to explore. The explorative state of analog is my most favorite thing. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna take you to something different, to like the cell guides, the state of art. Now these days, we have like superstars, let's say Taylor Swift, Kanye West, or whoever. And there's like the most important thing there is the popularity, the massivity, the numbers at the end. Mm-hmm. I have heard a lot of producers and a lot of people into the music industry saying that like people who takes decisions on the majors label, they don't really listen to music. They don't like music. They just only want to see numbers. So saying that, it's kind of like two different questions. One question will be what you think about massivity, popularity, and big concerts as a like a cultural phenomenon now these days. And if you want to talk about why you think from your position how the music industry work now these days.
Well, the first I can say, I think it's beautiful that people gather and that people get together and share a time and a place together. I think it's beautiful. I think it's a healing thing, and I think it's a historic thing, and I think it's a natural thing, and it's a powerful thing. And I'm all for that. People gathering and communicating and expressing and sharing time and space together. It's beautiful. I love that. And I've definitely been to like bigger shows, you know, concerts or festivals has that energy that you can actually like, there's really no words to say it other than just like you connect with everybody there and it's all flowing. Like that's a great thing. As far as how the market or how the small control the many with that, I mean, it's just like anything else. I think the people with power will try to control the masses with just a little turn of a button, you know? But if you can, as a musician, as like somebody who expresses themselves, who can enter into those pathways, you can get in there and then play this, and then the big show with thousands of people or something. And then you can just like a knob, quick change. Yeah, change like, yeah.
So tell us about your recording. Like, are you planning to have a whole album? You already have an album. What's coming for you in terms of live performance and get to find your audience?
Yeah, so the recording process I do all at home at my home studio, and it's pretty easy. I just plug stuff in, push buttons, and if I like it, I record it. If I don't, I don't. Everything, all my music is out on the platforms. You can hear it there, and a lot of the music has videos attached to it, all on the website. And I'll send you the links. People can see that. Sorry, what was the second question?
Well, I was asking you what's next for you, like in terms of live performance and in terms of like new music, but also comes to me like ask you if you have a strategy to go or to reach a wider audience as well.
The strategy to reach more audiences is just day to day. I don't really, honestly, I don't really care if anybody ever hears this or sees it. Like, as long as I make it for myself, and I'm like, okay, I guess I should try to share this, and I'm privileged to have that. But as far as performances go, this is the first time I've ever done this. I've played in bands before and I've done music before, but this is the first time I do my music, like only me, you know? So I just hope to play it for people, and hopefully it affects them and moves them and has a good time, and maybe think about things differently, like with live shows in general. Like for one of the songs, I just walk away, you know, like you saw. It's that's for me to take a break and just like relax. But number one, it's for me to show you that you don't even have to be here to have a show. Like, you can just push a button.
Yeah, no, that really kind of like caught my attention. I was about to ask you that, and also now that you mention, I feel you have a really intimate connection with music. As I don't know if it's a therapy or something else, but like I would love if you can tell us about your relationship with music, and not only listen to music but also make music.
I listen a lot. I listen to a lot of music before I hit record. My music that you'll hear online, or any of the albums or anything that I ever put out, is always, I get ready for it and then I hit record, and then I push the buttons and make the sounds and do the album, and then I hit stop, and then that's it, and I put that out. So there's not too much preparation, editing for the music that I make. Mostly I listen to all sorts of music in order to kind of charge that. And music for me is beautiful and fun to do, but I don't need it. But it builds up, and I say, okay, cool. Like, I got something to like, let me try this out. And it's mostly have fun, exploring and have fun. That's all I care about with music, for me, to show my stuff.
So how you feel about music as a language?
Absolutely, music is a language for sure. A language of emotions, a language. I mean, I send people songs like, "Hey, this song, you know, like da 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 da," and it can express that. And I think music is absolutely a language, and a powerful language. And the fact that we have so much music that we can listen to nowadays online, it's a beautiful thing. You send it to people, you share it, you listen, you can connect headphones, and, you know, like, it's very powerful. Sad, happy, you know, everything in between.
And if you want to imagine the future of music, what will you think will be?
Lots of live shows, small, intimate live shows. I think everybody here, like the 10, 12 people here tonight, I play my piece, you know, you play your piece, he plays his piece, he and we share that together. I like that idea, or collectively together.
So you think like music is a tool to build community?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think it was one of the first things or tools to build community was expressing sound together and separate.
I love that. I really love that. Actually, it's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to connect with the community and bring musicians and people who think about music and have passion for music, and we love to talk about music. So yeah, that's what we're doing here.
I can tell, and I super appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thank you so much, Kevin. I mean, hopefully everybody can go follow your. We're gonna put your links of your social media and for links to that gonna lead people to your music. Like I said, we talk mostly to like in Spanish speaker population. So I know people down south in South America, Mexico, Colombia, Chile, Argentina. They love to hear new music. They're pretty. They have a lot of interest on knowing what's the type of music that people doing here in LA, and maybe that will be my last question. How you connect your music to the mood of LA, or you living in LA? How you relate that with the city?
Yeah, so like I said earlier, maybe from Sacramento, small town. I mean, capital of California, but small town. It was very interesting moving to LA, especially downtown LA. It's like 10 times more everything from Sacramento, 10 times more height on the buildings, 10 times more people, 10 times more events, like more intense. And I started to do this kind of projects when I moved here kind of seriously. And a lot of the albums that I put out are actual conceptual recordings of LA. Spring in Silence is an album that I made dedicated to all of the fire and ambulance people that work in downtown LA, because we live on Spring Street, or at least the studio's on Spring Street. I live here too.
Yeah. Well, people, they don't know that, but we're neighbors.
Yeah, we're neighbors. We no car, no dolly, just with the hands to move today. But one of the albums that I made, Spring on Silence, that was made in dedication to like the fire and the ambulance and the people that actually like work really hard here, because I was trying to make an album and then like I kept getting the sirens and like the street noise, and I couldn't, like, I said, well, fuck it, let's accept it, and like put a microphone out the window and track that. In the performance, that was the song with my face. So I love LA for it. It took me a long time to really understand LA, and I don't think I really understand it still. It's a always moving, changing thing, but it has a lot of energy and it has a lot of like, whether it's good or bad or whatever, it's a lot. And I appreciate that a lot. And it's definitely like sparked me to be like, okay, like what else? What else are you doing? So I can say that about LA and the music and its influence.
That's cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah, LA is a lot. And I'm gonna recall the other question that I did. It's just what's coming for you, like in terms of presentations. If people want to see you, where they can find you, everything.
Yeah. So July this year, I go to Europe and perform a few shows out there live, what you see here, and maybe a couple in Bangkok I go to, and then I come back to LA and kind of reconfigure everything. I'd love to, after tonight, I really like playing live shows, and I would love to do some more in LA, but nothing is planned, just a Europe tour and maybe something in Thailand.
We're gonna be pretty on top of it to try to see where you're heading up. So let people know where you're gonna be, so they can see your show, which is pretty interesting. It's an experience. That's what I live. And mostly that's it, Kevin. Like, anything else that you want to say to the people?
Thanks for staying on the channel like this long to watch the very end or something.
Well, that's it. Bueno, chicos, de la última canción acá estuvimos con Kevin, fue un gusto conversar con él. Ojalá puedan ahí ver los subtítulos para que puedan entender las cosas que él cuenta, su relación con la música en Los Ángeles, la manera que él tiene de hacer música y entender la música. Yo les dejo mucho cariño, nuevamente es un agrado estar con ustedes. Síganos en nuestras redes sociales, ahí les vamos a estar dando distintas informaciones, vienen muchos más capítulos, tenemos para rato. Necesitamos su apoyo, así que por favor suscríbanse al canal, a nuestras redes sociales, compártanlo, difúndanlo. Siempre eso va a ser de utilidad para nosotros y así podemos como brindarles más experiencias musicales, traerles más información. Vienen más artistas latinoamericanos a tocar a Los Ángeles y para nosotros que ustedes nos apoyen nos sirve para poder cubrir esos eventos, así que eso, muchos cariños, cariños acá al equipo, Carlos, Antonio, Catalina que estuvo acá también de vuelta, que está un poco accidentada, así que le mandamos un cariño, y a toda la gente que siempre colabora con nosotros. Nada más que desearles mucha suerte, que tengan una excelente semana y nos vemos para la próxima. La Última Canción Podcast. Hasta la próxima. Thank you so much.